Hello, we're back and we're going to briefly talk about the fall of the European Axis powers, specifically the defeat of Germany. All right, so listen up, pay attention. Now, the fall of Italy was probably one of the most critical um, reasons why uh, Germany was so defeated, and this was like the first stage in the Axis collapse. All right, and British and American troops they landed in Sicily, and they captured the whole island. And after which, uh, the king lost faith in Mussolini, and he was dismissed. And the Allied troops, after invading Sicily, were able to cross into the mainland of Italy, of the Italian peninsula, and they captured Naples. All right. Marshal Badoglio, who was Mussolini's successor, he finally knew that it was Italy's um, time. He signed an armistice, and it brought Italy into the war on the Allied side, which Germans weren't too keen about, and they tried to hold on to Italy, and they tried to occupy Rome and the north, but the Allies landed a force 30 miles outside of Rome, and finally, Rome and Monte Cassino, which is right outside of Rome, were captured. All right. Now, the elimination of Italy contributed to the final Allied victory, and this is why. Because Italy now, on the side of the Allies, they were going to provide air bases for bombing the Germans in Central Europe and the Balkans, and they were kept occupied. Uh, German troops were kept occupied, and they weren't able to put any forces against Russia. They were really trying to stop the Allied attacks from Italy. All right. So one of the key battles that I know a lot of you probably heard about, talked about in prior classes, perhaps was D-Day, June 6, 1944, or known as Operation Overlord, which was the invasion to liberate France. All right, and it began on June 6, 1944, as I stated, and the Allies felt that it was time to, after Italy fell, it was time to invade and take back France. So the U-boats they were brought under control, those German U-boats, and um, of course the Russians had been urging the Allies to sort of invade France because it would relieve pressure off of them. And invasion of France was very important because remember that France was occupied by the Germans. All right. So in this D-Day, on D-Day, over 3 million, which is significant, Allied troops landed on the coast of Normandy, and within a matter of 3 weeks, most of northern France was liberated. All right. Now, of course, a lot of German missile rockets were launched from this Normandy coast of France, and this sort of put out of action, and it also helped to further liberate Belgium, Brussels, and Antwerp. All right, in September. Now, many thought that the events after France was liberated and Italy sort of fell, that there could be some kind of negotiated peace, and there's a lot of debate and controversy over this, um, because many historians and military generals at the time felt that if there was a negotiated peace, then it would be likely that we could save a lot of lives. All right, it wouldn't be as much bloodshed. However, Roosevelt announced that the Allies were fighting for the unconditional surrender of Germany, Italy, and Japan. And that just simply means that there's no negotiation here. They're going to surrender fully. All right. And actually, this policy was adopted by, after Roosevelt died, it was adopted by Harry Truman. Now, the Battle of the Bulge, very important. All right. So, of course, northern France is going to be liberated, and the Allies prepare to invade Germany itself. All right. Of course, the Germans were not going to give up so easily, and they were met with strong resistance and disagreements, also between the British and American generals. But Allied troops, and prepare for this invasion, were dispersed along a 600-mile front. All right, in France, to prepare to invade Germany, and Hitler rushed all of his troops and supplies and is able to launch an offensive, all right, through the Ardennes and towards Antwerp. The Germans broke through the American line and advanced about 60 miles, and this is what we call the bulge in the defensive line, all right, excuse me, in the offensive line, excuse me, and it was sort of like a bulge, all right, and that's why they call it the Battle of the Bulge, all right, in the front line. However, they were able to push the Germans back to their original positions. Um, like I said, this was very significant because Hitler actually risked everything on the attack. Lost about 250,000 men, 600 tanks, all right, and it was too late in the war, and it was to replace any of this. All right. So in 1945, Germany was being invaded on both fronts now, from Russians and um, from the Allied troops in the West. All right. The British wanted to take Berlin before the Russians. However, like I said, there were disagreements among the generals, and Eisenhower didn't want to be rushed into Germany. However, nevertheless, Berlin did fall to Stalin's forces in April 1945. All right, and later Hitler goes to commit suicide, and Germany is going to surrender. All right, so now we have the defeat of Germany, and we'll look at this perhaps a little bit longer, a little bit more in depth, and your reading will follow up on a couple of these battles, and which led to the ultimate defeat of Germany. So there you have it, my friends.